Alright, so I've been thinking about whether or not I'm going to make this video, and I've come to the conclusion that yes, I am. This here's a power supply that I purchased from one of the builders. I'll let you know who he is later on in the video, probably. There's the front of it. Your volt gauge, your amp gauge. There's your breaker, which I already had to replace because the one that came with it went bad. There's your variable. I want you to notice something. There's the top. There's the side. There's the other side. Okay. Here's the bottom. You guys notice anything yet? There you go. One fan blowing inward. Nowhere for the air to come out. Yeah. Okay, so that's an introduction to it. I'm going to get it opened up and show you what's going on the inside. Okay, so got all the screws out. We're going to lift the top off. There we go. Okay. Stand by and I'll explain a few things. Okay, I'm not an amplifier builder, I'm not a power supply builder, but you know, I got the gist of it. And this here, it's no big deal. It's just a bunch of switchers is all it is. You know, you've got a shunt here, so that way you can get your amperage reading off your gauge. You know, you got your fan. This particular builder went ahead and used a wall transformer, probably a 12-volt wall transformer there. So here's your AC 120 going in right here. Just put some heat shrink over the neutral and the hot that will go in the wall socket. You can see where this is running. No heat sink or anything, just a couple butt splices there. And that's obviously to power the 12-volt DC that these need for the lights. I'm pretty sure that's 12-volt DC. I don't see why it wouldn't be. Most of them are. So anyways, there's that. I want you to notice how these are mounted. Okay, look at the edge of the cabinet here. Okay, this one here for the most part straight. This one veers off a tiny bit. For the most part it's pretty straight. Veers off a little bit this way. Look at how this one's mounted. I mean, that's just pure sloppiness. That's, you know, nonsense if you ask me. And you got your big gap here, you got a bigger gap here, you know, that's crooked here. So I'm gonna go ahead and leave it like this so you guys can see that. Okay, you might be thinking, well, that's no big deal. A bolt underneath probably just came loose during shipping. It's probably all oblong hole. You can loosen it and move it. No, you can't. This builder mounted everything with sheet metal screws, and unless you want to move it over a tiny bit and drill a new hole through it, which I don't, that's how this builder did that. You ask me, sloppy. I would have liked to seen this one piece, but that'll work. Two pieces, that's fine. I would have preferred he did another one up here like most builders do. Once again, that's just pure sloppiness and trying to cut corners. Okay. Well, my next gripe, and I don't know if it's wrong or if it's adequate. I'll let some of you guys be the judge of this. I know what other builders use who I trust, and they wouldn't use this wire for your DC out. I mean, look at the wire going to my amplifier. Here. Got it next to my fingers, you know, there's my thumb. I mean, that's some #1 wire there. That's big wire. And you're going to supply all the positive with this right here. Okay, there's all the 12-volt DC going to the positive lug. And here is all the 12-volt DC, I'm sorry, negative, but still DC going to that lug, which then runs through the shunt and out, but still, this is all you're getting. There you go. That group of wiring right there. Now, here's this little wiring from this 12 volt transformer. You guys know how cheesy this is. Just imagine the wire on your wall charger for your cell phone, basically the same darn thing. There you go, and compare it to that wire there. You know, it's yeah, you can see the ends of it right there. So stand by, let me try to show you that a little better. Okay, so you all know how small these little screws are that hold the case in, right? That's your standard screw. I don't know what the size or pitch of that is. I could look it up, but they're all the same, okay? Here you go. I'm gonna hold it up to the end of that wire. And you can see it's much thicker than that wire is. I mean, there's no doubt about that. It's twice as thick as that wire right there, the bare wire. So the wire he's got running from each one of these modules to the positive and negative terminal that go to the amplifier is basically half the size of one of these little machine screws that hold the case on there, the lid on. Okay, so a couple issues with this. When I first arrived, the voltmeter was reading about 2 volts too high. Okay, no big deal. You take the lid off and you adjust the voltage. Let me see if I can look at the back, which is a trying to see which is a voltage and which is the amperage. This one here is a voltage. You can adjust it right there, the little pot. But anyway, that came 2 volts off, no big deal, but I still had to adjust it. Okay, number 2. This wire may be adequate. I don't think it is. I've had 3 other builders tell me it's not adequate. It needs to be bigger. Okay, that's another one of my gripes. My largest gripe is this fan. He's got one fan blowing inward and no way this air can escape anywhere. Here's the lid. I already showed you that. So where's this air going to go? The only hole anywhere is this little tiny thing here. And if you look, that's where the AC wire comes up from. So it has to go through that little tiny hole to even make it down there. I mean, that doesn't even count. That's nonsense. Okay, here's your AC wire coming in the box right here. I mean, you have a nice beefy power cord here. I did have them put this end on, because I ran a dedicated 240 circuit for that. That's the end I wanted. But once it gets in there, it's going to the breaker there, which I had to replace because the one that was supplied was some generic, no part number piece of crap that, lasted a few days. So here's the wire coming in. This is the AC 240 coming in. Okay, and it's going to this little this little block here. As you can see, some of the wires have wire connectors, and some of them he's just got looped around and he stripped a little wire. Will it work? Sure. Is it sloppy? Yeah, it's sloppy. Is it right? I don't believe it is. You guys can be the judge of that. Looks pretty sloppy to me. And once again, here's your 110 volts going into this transformer right here that he stuck to the back of the wall somehow, maybe epoxied it. Once again, no heat shrink. And also, these 2 last modules here, this one in particular is making all kinds of noise. It's like a zzz. It's not a fan. It's even when the fan doesn't come on. It sounds like it's arcing in there. I'm not sure what component it would be, but something's going on in there. And this one here to a lesser extent. So both of these right out of the box are just, no bueno. They're putting out power, but probably not like they should. Another problem I have is, let's say you set it, I wanted to run it at 14.5 volts. And he told me it would run dead steady. If anything, I might lose 1/10 of 1 volt. And that's not true. I have to set this to 15.5 volts to run a 2x8 on it, 2 driving 8 amplifier, and at that voltage, at 15.5 volts, it pulls all the way down to 14.3 volts under load. That's under full load. So that's quite a bit of voltage drop. It's not acceptable. I don't know if it's because these modules are garbage. I don't know if it's because these last two are buzzing and causing a little issue. I believe personally this wire is just too small to get the current needed from these modules to this lug to the amp. I mean, you can see how big this wire is. The same size wires running to the amp, running to these lugs, and then it's choked right here. And it's also choked right here. That's my belief. I may be wrong. If I am, let me know your thought. But that's where we're at. So this thing never worked right. The builder wouldn't return it back. He refused to accept it back. I had it. I finally had it. It was going to cost me $120 of my own money to ship it back to him. I was prepared to eat the $120 and just get the rest of my money. He claimed he didn't have the money. We argued. I told him, as a builder, you would think you would, at least have $1,000 laying around to refund people if you need to. And he claims he didn't, and he wasn't going to refund it. Here, stand by real quick. Alrighty, I had to let my cat in the house real quick. So anyways, he claims he didn't have the money to refund it. I paid $950 for this. He says he didn't have the money to refund it, so it would have been, I would have lost $120 going back. So what the builder proposed is that he puts in a claim with the United States Post Office saying that it was damaged in shipping. And as you can see, there's no damage anywhere on this. There's not a scratch on the outside of the box anywhere. There's not a dent. And I explained that to him. The box it was shipped in is just as clean as this. There was no damage during shipping. This is just how it was built, and it just didn't work right. I mean, you can see the fan. All it's doing is blowing air in there. The air can't get out. So I figured I wasn't going to get my money back. He tried to put a claim in with USPS. That's not going to work, because I have to bring the box this was shipped in as well as this down to my local post office. They have to look at it for damage. They have to document it, and then they're going to see if they're going to do anything. Number one, it would be a blatant lie, very deceptive, and it's just not honest. So I told him that's not an option. Let me send it back, get my money. Nope, wasn't going to do it. So what am I going to do at that point? Right, I got to have my power supply working. So I tell him, send me 2 modules. Send me 2 more fans and grills, and I'll go ahead and drill 2 holes on top of here and install my 2 fans. That way I can have 2 fans, the air blowing inward from the top, and this one I can either reverse and have it blowing out, or I can take this fan off altogether and mount some type of actually probably just leave this on there without the fan and just have it blowing out. Maybe I could block this off, put some holes down here. I don't know. I haven't figured out exactly how I'm going to do it yet. So anyways, that's what I told them. Send me 2 modules, send me 2 fans. Oh yeah, and the breaker that was no good right out of the box, send me one of those. So it took a couple weeks. Actually, it took probably a few weeks, maybe longer. I got my 2 modules, and I got another one of the generic breakers. You guys might be familiar with these, but as you can see, it has a custom part number here, and made in Mexico. It's Air Packs, and I called everyone trying to find this. I googled it, I eBayed it, looked on eBay everywhere. This is not readily available anywhere I could find. I called all my local part suppliers, even Granger. Granger couldn't find this, and even in the custom part number, they said, that's even worse. So I went ahead and got a one of the good ones that everyone else probably uses. I forgot the brand name now, but yeah, there's a new one there. Carling, that's what it is, Carling. About a couple of those from Granger. They cost me $45 each. I wanted one as a backup. Okay, can't blame them for two, but one, I'm out 45 bucks. So another generic one of those breakers shows up, great. Two of these show up. Like I said, that was over 3 weeks later, probably closer to a month. And then one fan shows up. And I tell him, you're supposed to send me 2 fans. He says, well, I don't remember that conversation. I never said that. So I sent him the text to refresh his memory. He said, well, you don't need 2 fans. You don't even need the extra one I sent you. That's all you need is the one. And I explained, well, dude, air's going in. It has nowhere to go. It's just circulating. It's causing turbulence. It can't get out. You know what he tells me? Well, it's not like the box is airtight. It's not like it has a weather stripping around it. Air's going to find its way out. Bullshit. This thing it ain't airtight, but it's damn near. That's all you got to work with, that little bit. I mean, that's, ridiculous. So he reluctantly sends me another fan. It never shows up. He says he sent it, no tracking number, it never showed up. So I start harassing him for a fan. That took another couple weeks to get. I finally get another fan. So now I have my 2 fans, my 2 grills. I asked him to send hardware, but he didn't. I went and bought hardware. Okay, no big deal. So here I am, and I'm going to put the 2 new modules in it. I'm going to drill my holes, put the 2 fans in it. I went and bought the stainless steel hardware to hold it all together. I'm going to have them blowing in, have it exiting out the back, and I'm going to try to get this thing running how it should. Now, do I tell you who built this? Do I tell you I wouldn't buy from him, stay away from him? Well, I hate doing stuff like that, but it's been over 3 months I've been dicking around with this, trying to get the parts for this. He wouldn't give me a refund, claimed he didn't have the money, and at one point, he says, I don't like the way you're talking to me, and I'm not going to talk to you anymore, something like that. I'm done talking to you about it. Just you're stuck with it. I'm not going to help you, something along those lines. And if he comes on here and he comes on YouTube and he starts bashing me or anything, I've got all the text. I can back it all up. Okay, the dude is just, I don't know what happened to him. I know for a damn fact he used to be a good, honest builder. I don't know what happened to him. He's building shit lately. I know he recently moved. Maybe he's hurting for money. I don't know. Using extra parts. I have, no freaking clue, man. But this ain't kosher. So, well, hell, I'll tell you who built it. Hopper built. Nate Jones, man. Hasn't been modified in any way. This is his work. This is his wires. That's his sloppiness. That's his lack of cooling. You guys, you can make up your own judgment. Maybe you think it's a great box. You can make your own judgment from here. I'm just telling you what I think is wrong with it and why I couldn't recommend him to anyone with a clear conscience again. I did buy my amplifier from him. The amplifier works. It puts out the output he stated. Everything works in the amp. I have no problem with the amp. It has 4 fans blowing inward. It has your traditional air coming out the back. The amp's built right. It's a little sloppier inside than I would like it, but overall it's built good and it works good. I also bought a Cobra 29 from him for a lot of money. I think it was like $340 or something. I'll have to look that up exactly, but I bought a Comptune Cobra 29. That works great, no problems with that, except the chrome bezel on the front he scratched at when he was changing the knobs on the front. The little potentiometers, he scratched that, and yeah, I wasn't happy about that being a brand new radio, but it works good. I have no complaints over that. But this here, just a complete different thing, man. I just can't recommend the guy anymore. I know it's long. I just want everyone to know what they're getting into, and peace out, man. Let me know what you think in the comments. Well, I'm gonna get to work and make this thing right now. Later.